right, my friends, I just turned 41, and I wanted to share 10 lessons that I learned in this past year. Now, it's a culmination of wisdom and things that have been coming to me that I've been learning, experiencing. But the past year, my past birth year from 40 to 41, and this past calendar year, I'm recording this on June 11th. So from January to June 2025 has been very tumultuous, to say the least. I've shared about some of these struggles, these ups and downs, these smiles and frowns, but I sent an email out to our Live Free Academy email newsletter. We do a daily email. You can sign up for free at livefree.academy/newsletter, livefree.academy/newsletter. But I put together an email with 10 lessons that I learned in the past year of my birth. And I wanted to share those lessons with you. Again, they are just a culmination of a lot of struggle and adversity. And through it all, I wouldn't have been able to make it through it all with the smile on my face. Now, mind you, there was lots of anger and frustration and sadness and even some crying. But I maintained a pretty good state overall through it, because I recognize that within every adversity lies the seed of an equal or greater benefit. That's from Napoleon Hill, of course, or as the Apostle Paul said, we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, endurance produces character, and character produces hope. So if you can tune your mind to a frequency of growth and development, then you'll find when hardship and adversity comes at you, it doesn't completely crash you, because you take the pain and you turn it into purpose, and it furthers you along on your mission. So here's 10 lessons that I've learned in the past year. Lesson number 1, don't take on more than you have the capacity to truly nurture. Our intentional community unraveled this year. We had 3 households living at our 10-acre, which is now a homestead again, instead of an intentional community. And it taught me, above all else, that leading from the heart takes a lot of presence. And if you don't have the mental capacity to dedicate attention to cultivating deeper, more healthy relationships and agreements, making sure there's no false expectations and everyone's on the same page, it will really come back to bite you in the rear end. So still am, but it's tapered now with restraint. I'm a Grant Cardone 10X guy, taking massive action through and through, and that's will get you to where you need to go. But once you reach a peak with that, sometimes you got to look around and focus not on just taking more action, but taking the right actions. And so I want to encourage folks. A lot of people are starting from a standstill, and you need to get the momentum going by taking massive action. But I really want to encourage you to be conscious and aware of what it is that you're taking on. Don't take on too much to the point where everything comes crashing down, because that's exactly what happened to us earlier this year. So that's lesson number 1. Look, somebody says, oh boy, Grant Cardone, I'm out of here. See ya. Okay, lesson number 2, let people lead. In my company and Freedom Cells and marriage and my family, I've really come to learn, and still haven't fully embodied, but I've learned the lesson, haven't fully embodied it or applied it all the time, that leadership isn't about control. It's about trust. It's about leading by example, and it's about letting others take the lead as well. That's where growth happens. As I shared, adversity leads to growth, right? Within every adversity lies the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Well, when you're leading a group of people, or when you're leading in a relationship, you should let the other people experience those ups and downs and mistakes, and not always try to insert yourself, because not only will growth happen for them, it'll happen for you as well. The third lesson I learned is to forgive others and not to forget to forgive yourself, right? So I've been sharing more and more about my relationship with Christ and exploring Christianity. And of course, the center point of Jesus's teaching is to forgive others. All right, he died for our sins, and it's a graceful message. And so as you're letting more people lead and letting go of control, perhaps there'll be more mistakes around you. And just really take the example from Jesus when he said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." Literally, the soldiers that were crucifying him. So if he can forgive literally the humans that are murdering him, surely we could forgive somebody that said an off-color remark or dropped the ball or harmed us in some way. And on that same token, let's not forget to forgive ourselves, because more often than not, we're hard on ourselves, and it creates this wallowing cycle of struggle and woe is me that really makes it hard to break out of that and come back to a place of balance. So forgive others, forgive yourself. And my fourth rule is to trust your gut. 41, and I've been doing activism and stuff for like 24 years now. And there's all these things that are recurring, and I'm just like a rerun, that meme. Hey, I've seen this one before. I've seen that happen in people, in movements, and you cultivate wisdom that's found in your gut. In fact, a lot of our brain and our processing power is in our gut. And when you have that little instinct, I got this gut feeling, so to speak, more often than not, you should listen to that, because there's been times when I quieted it, and it ended up biting me in the rear end. So try to cultivate and tune to that inner wisdom so that you can learn from the past and not repeat mistakes. There's a lot of wisdom in the gut. Listen to it. Number 5, be vigilant about who and what you let into your life. It's all about forgive and love, right? Like Jesus's message, but there's also some folks that just are not willing to do the work. And when those people come into your life or into your inner circle or your world or your community or property, it can really lead to a lot of hardship, a lot of tension, a lot of unnecessary stress. Now, that doesn't mean just toss everyone out and be so guarded that you don't let anyone in, but it does mean to start to spot folks that are unwilling to do the work. If someone's willing to do the work, come to the table, have a come to Jesus meeting, lay their cards on the table and get vulnerable and self-reflective, then by all means, there's opportunity for growth and connection. But sometimes you could tell that they're just not, the ego or whatever insecurity isn't allowing them to do that. So be vigilant about who you let into your life, but also be vigilant about what inputs, what social media, what dark and scary movies, what violence, what negative thoughts you let in, because that will also throw your groove off as well. Rule number 6, be careful what you pray for. This is something I realized my sister tipped me off to this, and old Jonathan England too. So if you're praying for patience, it's not just something that's just dropped into your lap. You're like, oh God, please give me greater patience and strength through what I'm going through. Yes, my son. And then you're like, yeah. No. That has to be learned through tests and trials. So you can expect that if you pray for patience and you pray for strength, there's going to be more trials coming your way. So just be prepared. Try to pray for wisdom maybe, but even still, the lessons are needed in large part for us to truly learn. And on that note, my 7th lesson is not to ignore the lessons. If there's some medicine to be had, you got to take the medicine, even if it's bitter, because if you don't learn the lesson, life is just going to keep throwing back the same situation, the same scenario, the same person, the same archetype, the same struggle, the same fight, the same arguments, just going to keep coming back and back again until you learn from it and go above and beyond it. So don't avoid those lessons. Take the medicine when it shows up for you. The 8th lesson that I've learned is that everyone's a mirror. Everyone in our life, they reflect back our insecurities, our shadow, so to speak. And so when we're triggered by other people, more often than not, that's some underlying insecurity or underlying work that we need to do ourselves. People are brought into our lives, I believe, not for comfort, but for growth. All right. My 9th rule is to rest. All right. God created the universe in 6 days and rested on the 7th. That's what the Sabbath is all about, right? And so, like I shared before, the whole massive action thing got me to where I am today and got my business to where it is. But at the end of the day, it also can be completely exhausting and cause you to lose sight of what's most important in life, which is the relationships and those that you're close to and enjoying life. We're here to enjoy life. It's a beautiful thing. It doesn't always have to be a fight full of friction. And then my 10th and most important lesson is don't wait like I did 4 decades to build a deep relationship with God, whether it's Jesus Christ, the creator, whatever you want to call it, however that shows up for you. I do believe that there is a higher power, some universal energy that connects us all. And I think that the deeper we can tap into that, the more meaningful life we'll have, but also it'll make it a lot easier to go through that struggle, and it'll help us to find a divine purpose that can light us up with such a spark of creativity that there's really nothing that can stand in our way. And it's that which is needed in order for us to get through these crazy times that we're living in. All right, so those are my 10 lessons, guys, that I learned in my entire life, but really the past year of my life, from 40 to 41. It's been rough, but I'm hanging in there and learning and growing and sharing all that I learned with you guys as much as I can. All right, so thanks for that.